Hello, 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 everybody. My mic is on. Yes, it is. This is Minnie Alexander here my Saturday afternoon. I hope everybody's feeling fine. Everybody's feeling good. Having a wonderful weekend. My weekend's good. Had a good weekend. Nothing to complain about. So, if you are new and you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And while you're doing that, hit the notification button so you know when I have new videos or I'm live and all that nice stuff. So, yeah. Uh, Also, if you do not know, I am an author, and my book is called A White Man's Whore. It is about interracial dating, white men dating black women, and just a different perspective than what most people are used to. I have personal stories in there of my interracial dating experience and other black women's, and interview from white men on how they view black women. Very interesting book. And for anybody who's listening who has purchased the book, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Having my little piece of me in your home or a little piece of me that you're reading about. It's wonderful. So, you can buy the book on Amazon. I should have a website coming up soon about on how to get all of my stuff and social media. But I will, after I'm done getting off of here, I will put in the description of how you can start following me on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, all those different things, and also a link how to get my book off of Amazon. If you do go to Amazon, just put in White Man's Whore and my name, Minnie Alexander, and there you go. It'll pop up, and go ahead and purchase it and let me know what you think. So, today on this Saturday afternoon, the topic is Black men are masters at love bombing. Now, I've had people say, why do you come at black men about stuff? Now, it's crazy because people, even outside of the black community, sees that there's this, I'm not going to call it a war, sees it as this little battle between black men and black women. That not all of us, there are some couples out there that black men and black women who have come together and they're living a wonderful life and have their bumps in the road, but they're able to get over it. There's black men out there that love black women and treat their black partner wonderful, and vice versa. Black women who do the same thing with their male black partners. But then there's ones out there that don't. There's ones out there that are really, really screwy. And again, we can always go back into history on why is this and why are this person acting like this towards this black person acting. We can always go up and down. I think what it is a lot of on both ends there would need to be some change. With black men and black women in order to put this feud behind us. But what I think is happening is a lot of people on both ends don't see their faults. And they don't self-reflect, and they can't correct themselves because they don't see their errors. They're too busy pointing their finger at the opposite person, and saying it's your fault. So I think that's one of the main things that's going on. And I'm gonna go live about this particular topic that I'm about to talk about. But the crazy part about it is, like, okay, as a Black woman, we're flawed. We're not perfect. And I know there's tons of people probably listening saying, "Oh, well, you know, well, white women have this, and Asian women, they're flawed too." I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about us. There's things as Black women we could change as a whole. Um, just to be better for our children, our community, for each other. And I could speak on those things, and I do. Even in my personal life, there's some things that I'm not perfect at, and I do talk about that. But the thing that's kind of disturbing to me is when I talk to Black men, I'll ask them, what do Black men need to change? And it's crazy because they will not tell me not one thing, not even half of a something of Black men as a whole needs to change to make it better between us. That's very disturbing, super disturbing, that they can't even say not one thing when I can name at least 3 things I see as a Black woman that Black women could change. So, okay, back to the topic. Black men are masters at love bombing. Now, some people don't know what love bombing is. Love bombing is when you first meet somebody and they either shower you with gifts, compliments, um, dreams of a future, possibly marriage, kids, maybe getting a house together, living together, having this wonderful fantasy future with them. That's love bombing. And because the nature of my book, where I love to talk about, the contrast between Black and white, especially dating Black men, white men, I can only talk about my history. And historically in my life, I've had Black men do this love bombing thing. And it's like straight out the gate. Straight out the gate. I mean, like literally day 1, day 2. Talking about marriage, talking about a future. And, I'm a big girl. I've lived a few years on this earth. I don't get caught up about that now. I don't get sucked into it. To me, it's actually a red flag. Um, and I've noticed that a lot of the men who have done this straight out the gate with the promises, and again, it's not even not like I'm not even coaching them to say this. It's just straight out the gate of talking about a future, and then they don't even know my last name. And now I see it as a red flag because most of those men have turned out to be narcissists. And if anybody out there has ever dated a narcissist or come in contact with them, my goodness, hold on to your seats because you are about to go for an emotional roller coaster. Not pretty at all being with a narcissist. And I'll double back around and talk a little bit more about narcissists. But again, comparing the Black men who I've dated and the white men, I've never had a white man come out the gate and make all these promises of the future. But I've had quite a bit of Black men who've done this. And guess what? They have not lived up to not even a quarter of the things they say. And the thing that makes it a red flag for me is like, why rush? Why rush? Take your time to know if you really even want this person before you start just spewing out all of these fantasies and love bombing. And I do believe that in my dealings with narcissists or people with narcissistic traits, that I think that some of these people who do love bomb and they say all these nice, sweet things, and I believe that they're also that they're also kind of visualizing the future. And they probably really mean it, you know? They probably really mean it. Not all of them, because some people, they'll use love bombing as manipulation to get what they want faster. But I believe that some men out there that do it to women, they really do see a future, but they don't understand how to take their time. Um, but yeah, so when a person love bombs you, again, possibly could be with gifts. I mean, and this is like they're taking the relationship and accelerating it to like 1,000 miles per hour, where it's like you barely know anything about the person, they barely know anything about you, and they're coming out the gate talking about marriage. They're coming out the gate talking about kids. They might be even sending you flowers. They might be cash apping you money. They might be taking you on weekend trips and just love bombing the hell out of you. And especially as a woman, I know that people come out strong in the beginning. It's the honeymoon stage, is their representative. But coming out that strong, I mean, I just have to say, be aware, because that kind of energy, most people cannot sustain that energy. My advice to people when they start dating someone is honestly aim a little low. When you first start dating somebody, even if you get that feeling of this might be the one, keep that to yourself for a second. Aim low. And when I say aim low, meaning don't come with the 1,000% energy, because that is hard to sustain. And the person that you are dealing with is going to remember you coming at them with this 1,000% energy. And they want you to sustain that. And when you don't, that's when the problems come. Now, when we're talking about men who love bomb, and again, some of them do it on purpose, because one of the main reasons to love bomb is to get the other person emotional. You know, when I've been love bombed, it's to get that to it's a wonderful manipulation tool. Honestly, it really is. And again, I've been love bombed before, so I'm kind of keen to it. I'm hip to it, if people even use that word anymore. And like I said, to me, it's a red flag. If I meet a man and in the first week he's talking about a future, again, he could be serious, but it's a manipulation. It's a manipulative way for a woman to get so emotionally tied in with a man that it's hard for her to let him go. Because especially in our community, in the Black community, a lot of unmarried Black women, they want to be married. They dream of being married. So now you have this man, the woman might be attracted to him, or probably is attracted to him if she's dating him. He might got his shit together. Maybe he don't. There's just something about this man. This woman is digging. And now he's saying all the right things. He's the man who's coming in on this white horse and telling her, I have the key to make some of your dreams come true. And one of them is marriage. So now you have the woman who super quick is emotional. And now she's tying into him emotional. And when you're tied with someone emotional, it's harder to let them go. But only thing about dealing with people with narcissistic traits and people who love bomb, and the love bombing is not genuine. It's not something they usually do. They're using a manipulation tactic, is they cannot sustain the love bomb. They might could sustain it for a few weeks, a few months, but it's going to be a point where it's like a light switch would get flicked. And when that light switch gets flicked with this love bombing, all that sweet stuff that you heard, all the sweet things they were doing, it just stops. It's like a car hitting a wall. It just stops. That's when you know it was all bullshit. There's no way that a woman can see a man and have the feelings of love, because it takes some kind of feelings of love if you really want to marry somebody and you're really looking at a future and it's not an arranged thing. It's really emotionally tied. It takes some type of feelings of love, and also with the man. If a man, meets a woman And again, I've heard stories like this. People who've been married for a long time, and they said when they seen each other, they just knew. They knew that was the one. Most of the time with those people that have those feelings, it's they might even say in the beginning, but they let the other person catch up. So the difference between people with narcissistic traits that love bomb you and people who are genuine in possibly talking about marriage or talking about a future is the people who are really genuine, they will allow you to catch up. Narcissistic people with traits that love bomb you, they won't allow you to catch up. You are on their time. If they want to get married in a month, that's what's going to happen. And if you can't keep up with them, they will discard you. It's about their time. It's not about you. It's a very selfish thing. And like I said, I've had this happen to me several times in my dating experience where, and again, I'll let you know, as a woman, it feels good. And again, that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to invoke these feelings of feeling good, that this person is looking at me and they see something that they want for the rest of their life in me. That makes a person feel good. But it never fails when dealing with people with narcissistic traits or narcissists who have love bombed me personally, that I know just to wait for that light switch to be flipped. It always, boom, that love bombing just stops. And as a woman, you're sitting there like, what happened? Where's all the sweet stuff? All the sweet stuff is gone. What happened? Talk to me. And it's a messed up, manipulative tool to be used on somebody. I mean, again, everybody, I always say relationships are custom made. You could meet somebody and marry them in a month or 2 or 3, and that's, you really chose the right person and you guys stay married for a long time. That's possible. It's possible. But it's also okay to take your time to let the other person catch up and let the other person's feelings get there. But again, love bombing, no, they're manipulating you to get you to an emotional state. So when they start acting their true self, when the mask starts coming off, it's harder for you to leave because in your head, you have these thoughts ringing of a future. Why? Because they told you. And especially a lot of good women who are dating out here, when ones that are not out here playing games, when you have somebody tell you something that sounds good, feels good, that rings in your head even when they stop telling you. It's a crazy manipulation tool. And yeah, I know in the title I say Black men are masters at love bombing. And if you're just listening right now, you didn't hear what I said in the beginning. I'm saying Black men are masters at love bombing because if you guys have been following me, you know that I talk a lot about interracial dating. And I can absolutely compare Black men to white men. I've dated quite a few white men. I've dated a hell of a lot of Black men. And I've never had a white man come out the gate and love bomb me and tell me all these promises of a future or promises of this or that, or even coming out the gate just buying me hella stuff to manipulate me. I've never had that. I've had Black men do it. I've had Black men do it, and I've been fooled before. I'm a little smarter now, just a little bit. So like I said before, when I start getting love bombed in the first week or 2, that is a red flag for me. If a person is talking about making these big decisions about children and moving in together and marriage and all that stuff, and they're not allowing me to catch up, that is a red flag, because what it tells me is they don't give a crap about really how I feel. They don't give a crap about my wants or my needs. It's about their wants, their needs, and they want me to follow. That's not a healthy relationship. It's really not. I would never sign up for that. I would never sign up for just following someone's lead because they are emotional, or they have this vision of their future and they're just dragging me along. Especially with big decisions like that. I feel like that's something that both people simultaneously should feel the same way about. And in a love bombing stage, I mean, and there could be well, it's crazy because I've seen this happen too, where men have love bombed women. And again, the woman has a vision of being a wife, has a vision of possibly raising their kids together, or whatever the situation might be. And she would like to move slower, but she just follows the man's lead. And she goes for it. And she wakes up and realizes she don't even know who she's really with. Or she loses herself. That's another thing with dealing with narcissists or people with narcissistic traits. You lose yourself. You move at a pace, and you make decisions and do things that you wouldn't normally do, but they are master manipulators in manipulating your emotions. And you begin to do things you wouldn't do, and you lose who you are. That's not a healthy relationship. You shouldn't lose who you are to be with somebody. They should want you to be who you are, and they're loving you for who you are. It's just, yeah, I've dealt with narcissists also, and it's crazy because few of the people, or one of the people I could think about that was a narcissist, I didn't know what the definition of a narcissist was. I just heard the word being thrown around. And I thought the person's behavior was a little strange. Again, they started off with the love bombing. And the crazy thing about love bombing is, I've had men love bomb me. For the first time I was love bombed, and all of the time I got love bombed was by Black men. I've never had a white man love bomb me. The first time I was love bombed by a Black man. He love bombed me for about a month and a half. I mean, nice, like we would go to concerts. He's bringing me roses. He's just, I mean, every night on the phone talking about how he knows he's met his wife, and, his search is over. And again, I could have went along with it, but I know that wasn't right. And it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I wasn't there with him. So the times I have been love bombed, besides one time, I wouldn't go along with it. And I think that dealing with people with narcissistic traits that love bomb a person, when they feel the person is resisting a little bit, I think that ends the love bombing faster, versus if you're going along with it and saying, yes, I see it too. Yes, I love you too. Yes, I want to get married too. It's like you're not feeding them when when you have that little bit of resistance. So this particular gentleman, he love bombed me for about a month and a half, right? I mean, he was even telling me to go look for properties for us to move in together. I mean, basically wasted my time. I'm sending him properties, and again, I was calling him on his bullshit, because part of me was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to look for properties. But in my heart, I'm like, the chances of us really moving in together after a month and a half is super low, and I'm not going to do it. But let me see. I want to see how far this guy's going to go. So I would send him properties, and of course, obviously, nothing ever came of it. And literally, like, after the month and a half, the love bombing stage was over, he literally just turned to me and just started spewing out all these things that he thought was wrong with me. Now, up until that point, I was like the greatest thing in his life since sliced bread. And literally the next day, he just started spewing all these things about what I'm not doing, what I'm not this, I'm not that. But I'm like, hold on, where did this come from? And then this same gentleman also invited me to go to Mexico with him, right? And I'm making plans to go to Mexico. Like, okay, you're trying to, and again, he did something to me and he apologized. So this is like one of his things to try to make it up to me. So he invited me to go to Mexico. And literally after trying to make plans to arrange everything in my life to go on this trip, he ghosted me. Come to find out, he took somebody else on the trip with him. So again, that shows in the love bombing stage, they will make you think that literally they just think you're the most amazing person in the world. And then when they're not getting that part of that narcissistic type of personality met, they will trade you in quick. So ladies who are listening, if you have been love bombed, if you are being love bombed, if you've never been love bombed, but you are listening to what I'm saying, please be cautious. If a man straight out the gate, especially a black man straight out the gate, is promising you all these things and he don't know you, nor do you know him, don't ever let anybody make you be on their time. And be cautious of this, because again, that type of energy, that love bombing energy, not unless that's who the person really is, it's not going to last. It's not. And the thing about also the narcissist is if you do fall for a little bit of their bullshit, they want you to fantasize and to think about the future with them. They'll ask you questions, like, do you see me? Do you see yourself as my wife? Do you see us doing this? Do you see us doing that? Do you, so, on a spiritual level, what that is you're sitting up there and you're thinking of these thoughts, and you're actually really, as they're telling you, you're thinking about it. So it's invoking this feeling of, yeah, I see that. I see us being together. I see this. And the sad part about it is, again, after that love bombing stage is over, and because you're somewhat a healthy person, you're still thinking about that, and they've already moved on. Quick. Narcissists and people with narcissistic traits, they will move on quick because they need to be fed by you. It's like they're energy vampires. They will pick any little thing that you do to justify moving on. When a person without narcissistic traits, and someone who really is trying to find a relationship, and they do see some good qualities in you, they'll work it out with you. They'll let some things slide. But a narcissist, oh no, it's their rule book. You're in their world. And the crazy thing about people with narcissistic traits is they don't understand, I don't know your damn rule book. And even if you wrote your rules down, I'm my own individual person. I can't walk on, and when people with narcissistic traits, you walk on eggshells if you really want to be with them, because you're so terrified of messing up. You have to follow their rules. So going back and comparing black men, dating black men, and dating white men. I don't know if I've ever, and I know there are white men out there that are narcissists. I know they're out there. I don't need people saying, but there's people else, but white men are narcissists. Yes, I know this. But I'm just talking about my personal experience. In my personal experience, I've never dated a white man that was a narcissist. I've never had to walk on those eggshells in order to keep the peace. And I've had white men who have said sweet things to me in the beginning and have done really nice things to me, but that's who they were, and that energy continued. There was no like, we're done. No, it continued. But for some reason and again, I have to say, because there's some people listening out there that might think I'm talking about all black men. No, and again, I'm going to cuss right now. There are some good freaking black men out there. There are some good freaking black men out there. But they're few. They're few. My goodness. Again, I go back in saying, like, again, as a black woman, we're not all perfect. We're not. We're flawed too in this feud between black men and black women. But again, black men, when I have asked them to tell me one thing black men need to change as a whole to make this situation better, they can't tell me not one thing. That is sad. That's sad that they can't even see their parts in it. They can't. They cannot see their part in it. And black men are, and again, if I'm wrong about the statistic, please tell me. But the last time I checked, black men are one of the highest people to get divorced, you know? And statistically, black women who are married to white men, the divorce rate is lower. You know, I was talking to a white male friend a little while ago, and I would love to have him on my show to explain this way better than I can. But he was explaining to me why he thinks that that is so, that black women have a lower divorce rate when it comes to white men. And I can't even, the conversation was a while ago, so I can't think of what his explanation was, but whatever he explained to me, it made sense. He kind of went into like being raised, like as white men being raised by white women, the white woman's personality is, I can't even begin to think about what he explained. But again, it makes sense. I might have to, when I get off this live, hit him up and schedule him to come on the show and explain it how he explained it. But however he explained it, it made total sense to me on why those relationships work out better. You know, I think a lot of black men are emotionally immature. They have not developed. And the reasons for that, I mean, we can go back in again to history about whatever. But I notice they're not developed, you know. And even myself as an adult, I've had to work on some of my emotional development, you know. I was dating a gentleman, and I kind of felt like it was a black gentleman. I felt like the relationship was kind of dying, you know. And I don't have time to be in something that's dying. If it's dying, just say it. And actually, on my end, I felt he shifted. I felt like I was doing what I could do, and he shifted. So I, gave him that speech about, hey, if you're feeling different, let me know. You know, you're not gonna break my heart. Just let me know, and I know to move on. Wouldn't tell me that. Instead, he switched up. Now, me and this gentleman would talk almost every night, like a routine. You know, that's what you do. You get to know people. You start forming habits. You start talking every night, and those are the ways you get to know somebody. The third night of him not talking to me kind of let me know that this person is telling me by his actions he no longer wants to talk to me, versus being emotionally mature and saying, hey, Minnie, I'm not digging this no more. Or, hey, Minnie, maybe we should step back a little bit. And again, I'm going to compare white men to black men. I've had maybe one or two white men who we were dating, and it wasn't working. And, they sat me down. It was very uncomfortable for both of us, very hard thing to do. But they were mature enough to say, listen, this is not working anymore. I don't really want to date anymore. And yeah, your first initial reaction is to be like, huh? What? Me? You don't want to date me anymore? But then sitting back thinking about it, that was mature as hell. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't easy for them to do, to look me in my eye and tell me this. I've never had a black man do that, ever. I've noticed that with black men, when they're done with you, they'll let you linger. If it's for sex, if it's just to know that they have another woman amongst their other women, that they can call or have on their team, even if they know it's dying, or if they know that the goal that you first set in the beginning of dating, which is, we want something serious. Even if they know it's moving away from that, they do not have enough balls to sit a woman down and say, listen, this isn't working. They'll do things like what I just explained about that gentleman that I was seeing, like just basically just start acting funny, And to me, that is a sign that that person was not emotionally mature. And it's crazy because the same people like this person I'm talking about will talk about they want to be the head of the household. They want a woman to submit. How can you want a woman to submit and you can't even communicate? You can't even communicate. You rather take the easy road out and just start pulling away and basically saying, I don't give a damn about how the other person feels. I'm going to take the easy road. And hopefully this woman gets a hint that I don't want to talk to her anymore. Versus, again, just being mature and being like, let me just go ahead and get this uncomfortable conversation out the way. I don't want to see you no more. And I've been on the end of that where I've told gentlemen, listen, this isn't working. And I try to do it with the kindest, not demasculating them, not calling them out of their names, not going into, you didn't do this, I didn't do this, you didn't do this. No, it's just simple. It's just not working. That's maturity. That's growth. I don't see that out of a lot of Black men where they've hit that level where they can actually develop that communication and that honesty. And then you wonder why all the relationships fail. The foundation of relationships, communication, trust, and honesty. If you can't communicate your honesty to a woman, how you think a relationship's going to work? If you can't be honest on how you're feeling at the moment, how you think you're going to have a healthy relationship? It's crazy. I really think that Black men, when it comes to emotions and hell, even communication, they're just lacking. They're behind. But then they have these dreams of having this wonderful relationship. Well, how can you if you don't talk to me? How can you if you don't tell me the truth? And I've also ran across Black men who, and again, I will say not all Black men, because I ran across some cool ass Black men that, they're not trying to control or dominate. They're just like, I see you as an individual. I'm an individual. We come together. It's cool. I'm not going to ask you 101 questions. Just don't disrespect me. We're good. But then I ran across some other Black men where they have this rule book in their head, a rule book of what women should do, a rule book on what women should say to them, how women should act to them, what steps women should take to do X, Y, and Z. And in their crazy minds, they figure that whoever they're dating should know these rules. And when the woman doesn't abide by these rules, again, instead of communicating what their expectations are, again, they just move her. If she was in first position, move her from first position without saying anything. Start dating somebody else. And if the woman wants to stay, she can stay. If she wants to kick rocks, she can kick rocks. I've seen that happen also. How does someone know what rules you built in your head if you don't say anything? And then also, are your rules realistic? And a lot of them who do have this magical rule book in their head, they're not realistic. It's realistic to them, but to anybody else, it's kind of like, no, that's not right. But their lack of communication and being honest about what they like, what they don't like, they just think a woman should come in and know. So when they keep on having these failed relationships because these women aren't doing what they want them to do, they think it's the woman's fault. No, it's not the woman's fault. It's just you have all these check marks. And when she's not checking them off, she don't even know they're there, or she might do things in her own way. Now you want to throw it aside, and here's the next one. Good luck. Good luck in finding that perfect woman that's going to have every little check checked. I had to learn that. I was one of those people that a man has to do this, he has to do that, and that, and that, and that, and that. And nobody ever lived up to my expectations. I'm not like that anymore. I'm not like that anymore. I'm really more just there's some things that I won't accept. The main stuff, don't disrespect me. Don't do that. And some more basic, just human rights type of stuff. But I don't have that rigid list anymore, because I know everybody's their individual person, and I let a lot of things slide now. Might be some things that a guy might do, and I'm just like, oh, I don't really like that. But is that really something even to talk about or to say to him? No, that's just who he is, you know? But yeah, I've noticed a lot of Black men, they have this list. And a lot of them don't share it because they're not honest. So they're not going to share the list with you, you know? So if you are a Black man listening to this and you have this magical list of how you want a woman to act, won't you go ahead and step out on a little bit of courage? And if you are dating somebody, or when you do date somebody, tell them this list. How about you get a pen and a paper and you write this list down of all the things you think women should do, how they should act, and share it with the new women coming into your life, and see what they think about it. And if you really do this, don't be so firm in everything. You know, don't be so firm. Like, I was dating somebody where we haven't talked. For me, again, I like communicating, sir. Like, I like communicating. Meaning, if I'm dating somebody and it's at the point where it's turning to be something serious, it's like, okay, now let's talk about, can we use titles? Can I call you my boyfriend? Can you call me your girlfriend? You know, talk about it. I don't want to just assume things and be like, oh, this is my boyfriend. And he look at me like, girl, no, I'm not, you know? So I like to communicate that kind of stuff, you know, with people. And again, that might be something you might say this is in my rule book, or just don't assume that kind of stuff, you know? But if you're listening, the topic is Black men are masters at love bombing. Masters at love bombing, yes. And again, there are good Black men out there. Again, in my dating life, I've had to learn how to, and it, you know, I have a circle of women who are around me, a small circle. And these women have been married for over 40 years. One was been married about 40 some years. The other one was married for about 50 some years. So I have women who have been in relationships and obviously have made it work. And those are the women I bounce things off of. And both of the women told me on 2 different occasions, they were not together when they told me this, they had to check me and basically tell me, like, listen, Minnie, you are looking for a perfect man. Nobody's going to be perfect. Okay, I'll tell you one of the women. One of the women is my mama. My mama told me, not, you know, she told me one day that I had, and it's not even saying high expectations. It was just, I was just really like, oh, if he does this, he's gone. You know, like, okay, here's an example. If a man smack when he's eating, you know, smacking, I would get rid of him because of that. I mean, it's silly now. I would never do that now. If he's a good man, treating me good, and we have vibes and that energy between us, smack on, baby. Smack on. Let me smack with you, you know? So it took those women who've had these relationships to tell me, to look at me in a loving way and say, listen here, not every man's going to be perfect. My mama even said, some things you got to just let go. Some things you just got to accept. And she told me this years ago. And I've really digested that as a woman, you know, but the hard thing about it is finding someone who understands that also, that I am not perfect. You know, I might do some things to irritate them or do some things that are not on their, you know, that's violating their rule book. And what do? Do you get rid of me, or do you talk to me? Or is it just so big that that person got to move on? You know, and I think in today's society, people don't have people to check them like my small circle of women who've been married over 40 years checks me. And I think played a big part of my life, because when I do make a move, you know, just say if I am dating somebody and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't know if I want to stick around for this. I'll bounce this off of these women. And since they know me in a very personal way, I'll say, hey, is this enough to get rid of this person? And I ask them both on two different occasions, and they're not together. And I hear what they say. And I like for them to explain to me their thoughts behind my actions. And most of the time, not most of the time, but there's been times where they're just like, yeah, don't let him do that. That's like when I was talking about the last person, my last relationship that was very toxic. These women actually helped me move on because they were just like, this is crazy. The things you're telling me is crazy. You need to get out of this before you end up in a body bag or in a hospital somewhere, you know. And this other person that I was dating, I bounced off of them like, hey, I haven't heard from this person in 3 nights. What should I do? And both women, again, they're not sitting next to each other. They're like, yeah, don't put up with that. Don't put up with that. So I think as a single person out here, it's very important to have those type of circles, especially as a woman. And again, these aren't single women I'm talking about. These are women who have been married, who have had their ups and their downs and their thoughts of divorce, but they stick by their husbands and had kids and bought houses and moved around. And they're my elders. And I think that's what's missing a lot with single people. They don't have any elders to say, hey, I can't figure this out in this dating world, or I'm seeing somebody. And also let me throw this in there. In these group of women that are around me, they're not, just because they've known me for all my life, they're not always on my side. That's important too. When you try to build that foundation of a support group and people who can check you, really check you. And these women, they check me. If I'm not right, they say, hey, that's not right. Any way you slice it or dice it, you're wrong. So I trust these women. I really do. I trust them. And also when I'm dating, I always try to talk about positive stuff to them too, about people I'm dating. Because sometimes if you always come to the person with negative things about a partner, that's the only picture they have. Yeah. So, again, the topic is Black men are masters at love bombing. And yes, I'm specifically talking about Black men because I could just talk about my experience. In my experience, I've had a lot of Black men sell me a dream, and it's only a dream, never be tangible. And like I said before, I believe that some of these Black men, they possibly felt it in their heart, whatever dream they were creating. But I believe some of them it was just BS, you know. And and again, ladies, if you're listening to me and you can relate to this love bombing where the man just opens his mouth and tells you all these beautiful things. Again, he could be genuine, but give him some time. Give him some time, and if you're not feeling the same way, any man who's genuine will let you catch up to him. Any man, there's men out here that has seen women or who've been around women and say, you know what? You are my next wife. Or you're going to be my wife, or you're going to be the mother of my children, or likes to buy gifts and do nice things for their woman. And that's who they truly are. Or they really see this woman and they really see something special. If they really see something special in the woman, that energy is not going to stop. It's not going to just be turned off and on like a light switch. But if you're dealing with someone with narcissistic traits or a narcissist who use love bombing to manipulate, they are trying to get you into their space emotionally. So it's harder for you to let them go. But a lot of narcissists or people with narcissistic traits, they will let you go quick. And they will be able to go to sleep at night and not think about you again. And all the things that they've told you, the love bombing, the things they've done, it means nothing. But the men that are truly genuine, they will allow you to catch up to their feelings, and their energy will not change that much. It won't just go off and on. So again, in my journey, love bombing, a man coming on too strong straight out the gate is a red flag. I just kick my legs up, sit back, and see. I just be like, how long is this energy gonna last? Because if it's lasting, especially if I'm like, I'll tell somebody, let me catch up with you. If he's allowing me to catch up with him, but his energy is still the same, meaning he's still telling me the sweet things, and he still sees how special I am, then it's probably it's genuine, some genuine stuff. It's genuine stuff. And then the next question he needs to ask me is my ring size. That's funny too. Like when men, tell women using manipulation of marriage. Don't ask a woman their ring size. Just keep on blabbing about getting married. Like, come on now, man. And a lot of Black men, they know that and not every Black woman, there's a movement of women out here that don't want kids and don't want to get married. And that's what they choose. That's what they choose. That's their life. But a lot of Black women out here, they want to be married. And a lot of Black women out here have never been married. So Black men know dangling the word marriage in front of a Black woman will make her more submissive. It will make her more emotional. It will make her put up with a lot of BS she wouldn't put up if those words weren't being said. It's manipulation. As a woman, I won't be manipulated by that anymore. I watch people's actions. If a man truly looks at me and he sees me in that position of his wife, that energy will not die so quickly unless I really mess up, and he will allow me to catch up with his energy. And if I never catch up with his energy, then it's clear that it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't. And also in the love bombing stage, I've had a lot of Black men in the love bombing stage. I mean, literally just met me, telling me they love me and expecting for me to say it back. Now, if you are a person that the L word means something to you, especially as a woman, when you hear that and you just don't just throw that word around like it's just an everyday common word, that could invoke something inside of you, and especially if you're doing someone with this manipulating you, that could make you act a whole nother way and be putty in this person's hands. And I've had that happen too. So for me, again, if a man straight out the gate telling me that he loves me, now with those words, there should be some actions. It should be some actions. It shouldn't just be words. Words, I could tell a million people I love them and I really don't. Or I could tell a million people I love them and have actions that back it up. So be very careful in that love bombing stage. And the thing about people, narcissists and narcissistic traits, when they're in that love bombing stage and they do drop the L word, they love you, they want you. They need you to say it back. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about how they feel. So by them dropping the L word, if you're not saying it back, I guarantee if you're dealing with someone with narcissistic traits or a narcissist, they will make you feel bad for not saying it back. And in a healthy relationship, one person might say, I love you before the other person. But again, they have that respect with letting that other person catch up and saying it in their own time and really searching their heart and being like, I'm ready to say it now. I'm feeling it. I see it. I want them to know. It's crazy. It's like, why did the creator make narcissists? Why did the creator make these narcissistic personality disorders? My goodness. And men who love bomb you are the most insecure men. They're so insecure. They won't say it because they wear a wonderful mask of that they're the most confident person in the world. But in all actuality, They are the most insecure men. And women, if you've ever dated an insecure man, it is hell, because they need you to validate their security. And if you don't, if you're just going through your life and you're not doing that, it's hell to pay. It's like they're energy vampires. And I mean, we're all insecure about something. And I was dating somebody who I believe have narcissistic traits. And in his manipulation, he was telling me about, well, there was a night or something that we didn't talk. And he was accusing me of being out with somebody, which I was not. I reassured him I wasn't. And then I think a night or two after that, the same thing happened with him. He didn't answer his phone. And I said, hey, this pattern and this pattern makes me feel or think that you were doing this. Am I right or am I wrong? Instead of telling me, give me that reassurance that I gave him the few nights before, saying, no, this is not what happened. This is what I was doing. He came straight out the gate with, I was insecure. I mean, just going at me. And I believe he has narcissistic traits. And my comeback with him was, who's not insecure? There's different levels. There's different levels. But my comeback with him is, if he is not insecure and he has somehow mastered not being insecure, please write a book and teach the rest of the world. But narcissists will do that. If you question, they can question you, and they want a clear answer. They want you to answer what their question thoroughly. But when the tables are turned and it's literally almost the same exact situation, you don't get what you gave them. You get, they either downplay it, they'll call you crazy, they'll call you insecure, they will do something to not reassure you that things are okay. Pure manipulation. It's crazy. Red flags all over the place. And the sad part about it is, a lot of people who get into relationships with people with narcissists and narcissistic traits, it's not something we're taught about the characteristics. We hear the word, but until you study it, you don't know. You're just like, this person's a little strange, or why are they doing this? But yeah, I advise anybody who's out there still dating to, on YouTube, there's like 10-minute videos of what a narcissist is. Please learn what it is, because they're everywhere. They're manipulative. They love to love bomb. They love to get you off your guard and get you emotionally attached to them. So it's harder for you to leave and for you to put up with their BS. Dealing with a narcissist or a person with narcissistic traits, it's like literally taking your emotions and just throwing it on a roller coaster where it's up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's horrible. It really is horrible. So I'm almost at the 1 hour mark. You have, whoever is the person in the looking at me, thank you. You've been here for almost the whole entire hour with me. Anyone who is going to listen to this after it's not live anymore, please pause for a second. Press the subscribe button. Press the notification button, so when I do go live, you'll be right there with me. Also, buy my book, A White Man's Whore. Again, it's about interracial dating and all that wonderful stuff. You could buy it on Amazon. Just type in White Man's Whore in the search bar, and with my name, Minnie Alexander, and it should pop right up. Buy it, read it, give me your feedback, and let me know what you think. So we are here on a Saturday afternoon. Where I'm at in the world is the afternoon. You guys have a safe weekend, and thank you for listening.